Well, welcome to the chop. We're still in the chop, up, down, but there is data to tease out of this, which is very interesting. So let's take a look at, first of all, welcome to the VIP pre-market prep, where VIPs get this in real time before the market opens. If you're not a VIP yet, you can go to storytrading.com and upgrade to become a VIP. Otherwise, you'll get this delayed at 4 p.m. Eastern out on social media. So look at this, NASDAQ SPY. I'm not surprised anytime anything happens these days. As I talked about yesterday, I wasn't convinced that this would be a bear market rally. Up, down, up, down. I told you, actually, at this point, I'm pretty non-committal as far as direction because of the interaction with the 200-week moving average over here I talked about yesterday. So really not 100% sure what's going to happen at this interaction, if that's going to hold or if we drop below, causing a fundamental issue. But there is, or reflective of a fundamental issue of the economy. But there is something I really want to point out, which is interesting. Oil. I think I briefly talked about this yesterday. Oil is continuing its move down. Now it's below the 50 DMA, and this is, I think, over 20. Okay. This is very interesting. I talked about this yesterday in terms of stagflation versus just a regular recession. And the fact that, let me just say, if oil continues to go down, that's a really good thing. And it could potentially mean, it could potentially mean we can hold the line here at the 200-week moving average. The sharper this oil drop is, I think, and the more sustained it is, the higher chance we have of avoiding a deep, long recession or stagflation. And I am not sure that's going to happen, but I'm watching that oil price action with a lot of interest, right? Because the cure to high prices is high prices. And if oil prices come down because of high prices and lower demand, well, that's the system working. And if the system is working, you can quickly get out of a recession, and the recession might not last longer than 2 quarters. And if that's the case, I know we're not technically in a recession yet, but we are. It'll be announced soon. I'm 100% positive about that. But if we have our economic system working, and if the cure to high prices is high prices and oil goes down and stays down, then possibly you can get out of the recession quickly, and maybe the bottom's in because the market's forward looking at least 6 months. So that's something very interesting to watch. Now, I worry though, and I'm guessing that the price action we're seeing is not reflective of the supply issue being solved, but it's speculators thinking, oh, this is just another cycle again, right? The reason we're down 6% today and down since last week is because people are finally pricing in a recession. And they're like, if this is like every other recession, oil's going to get demolished. So you have speculators front running this, shorting oil, selling oil, because they think demand is going to significantly impact the price of oil. And again, ultimately, that would be a good thing. But is that going to happen fundamentally, right? Is there too little supply out there because of what's going on with Russia and lack of investment in the United States that you cannot have a sustained lower price? And that's where we are right now. That's the bull bear case. That's what's being, that's why you have so much chop here in the stock market. But the lower oil goes, and if it sustains down at those levels, the higher chance that, let's see, 350 could possibly be the low if our economic system works, okay? But if it doesn't work and Russia's a problem and we don't have enough investment in oil and oil's going to pop right back up, then I think you're going to go below 350 and we could potentially have a lot of pain for a long time. But I just find this very, very interesting that oil is reacting this way because you have enough powerful people and enough speculators who are thinking that the system is working and the cure to high prices is going to be high prices. Oil is going to come down, which is going to bring everything else down, and we can get out of this recession quickly. And that's what's interesting to me. That's what we're watching. I'm not sure Bitcoin at 1263 what number that represents, but I did see we dropped below 20,000 briefly again. Guys, I don't like Bitcoin, so I'm still thinking 7 to 15,000 is where it's headed. So wheat and corn I put up here too, because this is also part of the formula of what I talked about. You know what though? probably material is more important. Let me just check XME to see what we're getting over there in the materials. So these are the stocks of materials, though, not the actual materials prices. Um, but that's also pulling back. But wheat and corn agriculture, I'd always said this would have less demand destruction. But look at this: wheat has been down sharply, 20% from the high as well, over 20% from the high. Big drop over here. So some market saying the cure to high prices is high prices here too. This is working like oil. It could. I don't know if it was this show I talked about it or not, but you will still see some demand destruction with wheat and corn, right? Because I believe there's a lot of food waste in the restaurant industry. So you're going to see people eating out less. They still have to buy that food in supermarkets, but you're going to get a lot of waste when it's purchased both by the supermarkets and the restaurants throw away a lot of food. So you'll see some demand destruction there. And also, people will eat less, right? They're not going to eat nothing. They'll eat less. So you could potentially see demand destruction here. So maybe that's what's at work when you're seeing all this price action. The market is telling you, hey, recession is happening. And right, so the whole key is, do we go below the 200-week moving average? Who knows what's going to happen. I really am worried that Apple is going to guide lower. Morning, by the way, speaking of recession, we have some information out from Harker. Fed's Harker says could have a couple negative GDP quarters. So that's playing into oil going down further this morning. That's just happening in real time here in the last 10 minutes. Inflation could still be north of 5% next year, then down to 2.5% the following year. So I think those comments from Harker is directly playing into this drop in oil. You'll see this reacting to recession. And then we have Powell speaking at 9:30, by the way. So that's what's going on with the macro. And man, I can't do this anymore. I was trying to trade the chop, like Qs and SPY calls and puts and UVXY here and there. I give up. I tried it on my side account with my cash. Can't do it. Too much chop. It's crazy. Sticking with my long term in my IRA. Okay, so anyway, good luck to you if you are trying to trade this up and down every day. All right, let's see. Couple pieces of news. SEAC insider buy. CEO buys 189,000 shares at 53 cents. Oh, I think I misreported 52 cents this morning in the chat room. So 53 cents. So that's something to look at. Man, that risk reward kind of starting to play out, man. When I talked about getting into this at 70 cents, first of all, ended up that Triller guy, I think, completely misrepresented or lied. So I'm a little peeved that I went overweight at 70 cents. But we talked about the risk reward because the underlying business was strong, and sure it is. And it was tough if you got shaken out right at the bottom here. But, I probably could have gotten a better sellout. I did sell out that day, maybe closer to 50 cents on average, but it did go to over 60 cents. Now we see the CEO buys at 53 cents. It's 56 cents now. So that was an interesting play with ultimately limited downside if you didn't get really scared and sell the lows. And we'll see what happens. I am talking to people about what we could potentially do about that misrepresentation of Triller and Ryan Kavanaugh. We'll see. All right, that's Seek. And that's about it. I don't see any other news for any of the stocks we follow. We'll look at a couple charts here. Chewy, by the way, we talked about the interaction with the 2050, gapped above the 50. I would think now that 50 DMA is going to be support, which today is around $30.25 maybe. So you can see how beautifully these key moving averages work on that. Revlon, I got no words, man. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge or experience to know if there's anything real behind this. Can this be worth more out of bankruptcy, or is this just a short squeeze? My guess is it's just a short squeeze. I'm not playing it, staying far away. I got lucky that I only was short for like half a day and I made money on it. So I stayed the hell out of the way since then, thankfully. But you can see with a 38% short position, I believe the shorts are just targeting this. It's interesting that that's working in this environment. So congratulations to them. LKKF, by the way, I found out the reason why this has been dropping. It's because the CEO is leaving. So I don't know enough about this company. I'm trying to collaborate with Tony, who was busy yesterday, because he's the expert on this stock in our community. Looks like it's even lower in pre-market at this point. Yes, it's not open yet. It's an over the counter, so it may open even lower than 74. But it's the CEO who's leaving. The statement that came out was pretty hard to find, not in the news feeds with that F over there. This is a lithium company that's supposed to be uplisting, Australian lithium company, $1 billion, 1.5, 1.3 billion now market cap. But I don't know enough to know why people are reading negatively into the CEO leaving. Um, it looks like all the projects are on track and they're searching for a new CEO. But I guess what this means is people really, really like that CEO, and there was probably a premium paid above the fundamental value because of what that CEO brought to the table. Is my guess just looking at that price action. So, unfortunately, we see that there. I do have a small position in that, so not terribly happy about that price action. But I do have a couple other lithium companies which are holding up better. LAC and LIACF. Yep. All right, those are my other two lithium. So yeah, got to diversify if you want to do the lithium trade. All right, man. Not a lot going on here. You can see CLFD had a good day yesterday. This one from Chris Tarbert. It's trying to break over the 200 DMA. Swinging is tough, man. In this market, in this chop, I can't. It's not a confident trade anymore to say, hey, we're moving up. We broke a DMA. We're going to run for it's very tough with this chop. It's a tough market to trade. I think probably better off just picking some spots and holding it in your long-term account unless you're a ninja. If you're a ninja and you can change your mind, and if you're schizophrenic and you can be really excited one day and really bearish the next day, and if you could do that, more power to you. There's a lot of money to make if you can figure that out. But so we're just trying to pick our spots here to see what could be good entries for the long term. I guess I do have to talk about Drio. I did talk about, and I was right yesterday, that Drio, the technicals look good. I told you I was not going to talk my buck. It is my largest position, but I wasn't going to sugarcoat the technical breakdown Friday. And you can see a lot more momentum to the downside after the break of that 50 DMA. And to tell you the truth, I wouldn't be surprised if it tested the lows again at 414, which would kill me. I would lose a ton of money, but I'm just going to tell you the truth that purely on a technical level, that's in the cards. All right. I'm not going to try to play it. I put too much research into this company, and I think ultimately it's going higher. So I don't want to risk selling at 536 and, possibly not getting in lower, because all of a sudden before it hits that low, you can get the news you want, and this thing could, totally reverse and gap up higher. So I'm not going to play that game with Drio. I can understand if a lot of other people are, and I'm sure a lot of other people did when I warned about the 50 DMA breaking on Friday. So listen, there's a theory out there, and I don't know how to validate this. I know Mark Gomes has talked about it in reference to SMSI, that this price action is because of the Russell rebalancing. And I'm just aware of the mechanics of this very peripherally. I know Mark has said that funds kind of front run that, and that selling pressure is eased a few weeks before the reconstitution. I believe it's June, the end of this week, like Friday. It has to be all done by. So I don't know. That's what some people on social media are telling me about Dario, that this price action is related to that. I have no way of validating or verifying that, but that's something to think about in terms of the price action. I can just think it's more, this started moving down as soon as the debt deal was announced. So that's that. And I laid my bed, and I'm waiting for that insurer deal to be announced, and hopefully we'll be making a ton of money very quickly. So let's hope that deal gets announced. That's with Geo. I mean, Kodak, this is a very large position for me. Maybe almost as big as Dario, number 2 position, and it's been on fire. There's something going on, and we don't know what it is. Okay. We don't have the information. This is not retail. There's very little retail chatter. It's breaking through all these DMAs. This is like the only stock above the 200 DMA. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but there's only a very few handful of stocks over the 200 DMA. Kodak is now one of them. RSI is still not really overbought. So I'm holding on to this for now. I maybe start selling some covered calls since the market's down. So that's the story with that. Don't see anything else going on. If you'd like to continue collaborating on this or other names with us, join our community, or we can chat in our VIP rooms. If there's any data, you have any nuggets on any particular stocks, please share it with the community throughout the day. And thanks for joining us. Good luck. Talk to you soon.